Oh, hello, everyone. It is Shooter. Hey, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin's latest Elliott wave count. Of course, at the end of the presentation, please do review our disclosure. Okay, so it looks like maybe our minor wave 4 is going to come in around 39,529, so a little bit lower than where we are now, but we should find a floor there. I mean, that initial... Notice this is Mound 2. Those of you who followed me for a while, that's my own concept of relative strength, or the relative strength index. Typically you end up with 3 mounds, Mound 1, Mound 2, and then Mound 3, and that's all consistent with a larger uptrend. So now, unlike a 3 drive, either the first, second, or third hit, so it's still a 3 drive, but not technically a 3 drive. So you can have divergence on drive 1, 2, or 3, depending on the mound. So quite often what happens is on the second mound, our divergent or our higher high in RSI occurs just above there. So this could push really quick. But let me bring in one other tool, because this is something I like to look at from the floor to the top of our leg, because this is pretty much what Mr. Market is looking for. And when I say Mr. Market, it indicates what most people get from using Fibonacci extensions, because they don't use a Fibonacci extension tool like I do. For example, on the right side of my screen where I've developed my golden boxes, that's more for targeting. But the market is looking at the 61.8 back to the 78.6. So the market is looking between 30,434 and 33,483. So a lot of traders are looking at this, and on a conservative level, they're going to come in and, they're not going to measure the whole leg. They'll come in and measure this leg. So 50% back happens to be right about where we are, 39,682.50. So the conservative group is going to be looking here, and they're going to start buying here. So that's my thought as far as Bitcoin. Now, I wanted to jump over to GBTC, just because I know a number of you still have positions there. Right now the count says our 4 is in, and we're going to hold and then head towards 38. So no major difference there. Now, I wanted to go over Bitfarms. Now, Bitfarms, we have, on the daily, we have a confirmed high here. So what do we always look for? One additional divergent high. So a higher high in price and a lower low in RSI. Should be pretty aggressive, which happens to coincide with our drive 1, drive 2, and this would be drive 3. Now, quite often, drive 3 is an overshoot. So it's consistent with the count. So that's what I would look for. However, the count currently suggests that we're going to break down to about $1.63 here. However, the look here looks to me more like the breakout is more imminent. Now, quite often on drive 2 is we see the breakdown. So let me bring in that retracement tool and give you a visual. So, I would say there's about more than 50%, but I don't want to say 75%. And I really don't even want to say 60% chance. Usually in a flag look, like, we have a decent pole there, pole, and the flag is here, breakout's impotent. So, we might not get any breakdown until we get up towards 380 something. So, at this point I'm holding, this is a long-term position trade for me. That's what it is. So if we do get a drawdown, 50% back is probably what we would get off of this leg. So maybe 182 from where we are now, which isn't too deep. However, that's a good next entry point for those of you who haven't put a piece on in Bitfarms, because you're like, when should I buy it? Because I know a lot of you are thinking that. But ultimately our wave 3 comes in. Now, if Bitcoin does what I think it will, and we're building out another floor at the level we are, this shelf should become shallow. Because realize one thing with Bitfarms is it's their Bitcoin holdings, not necessarily their mining where their equity is. And their cost basis is below $9,000 of Bitcoin. So that's where the money is in this stock. It's because as Bitcoin grows exponentially, so does Bitfarms, because the assets it holds continue to grow as Bitcoin climbs. So having that low cost producer status, and the only one that produces less than that is China, because Bitfarms is right at about 4 cents a kilowatt hour, because they produce everything with hydro. So it really is a clean Bitcoin farm. So, but looking to that upside, I think that 4 tightens up. That's at least my thought, knowing how drive 1, drive 2, drive 3 builds out, for a topping pattern. And realize, unlike drawdowns often only have 2 drives, or lately in the last year and a half, we've really had a lot of 2 drives. We have very few 3 drives to a bottom. The top is exactly the opposite. Typically we have a 3 drive to a top. So, I look for that more so on a bullish push. And then I'm only looking for 50% back of that leg. So if we get up to this 3, and I'm measuring this whole leg, I'm only thinking we're going to draw down from that 381 to 241. And that's just roughly how I look at it. So do I want to take the heat back down to 240? Yeah, because, ultimately what I'm chasing in Bitfarms is this larger number up here at 952. So from $1.45 or $1.20, depending on what your average is in Bitfarms, we're looking at a 3 to a 10x trade, well, not quite 10x, 7x up towards that 952. So, that happens well before 100K Bitcoin. We're talking 65 or 70,000. We're going to be at 952. So from an investor standpoint, a low dollar stock like Bitfarms is going to grow exponentially in Bitcoin to the upside. I just wanted to drive that. Now, the other one that I really like here is coin. So I'm showing a next entry long around 128. However, let me bring in my fib tool again and, go back where, the great price is, off of this particular leg where we are. So if we did back test, 50% back would be down around 108. So, what I would do is maybe get a piece on it to 128 if you don't. Now, cash secured puts are a good play here as well. So either that or scaling in even with common, because hey, we're looking at more than a double up here at 277 with a 65, 70K Bitcoin. So again, that's another upside. So that, I wanted to focus on the upside, not necessarily the risk. In one of our last recent videos, we went into the SEC additional disclosures that Blackstone put in. And I'm just going to review that again for everyone. Basically, it looks to me like the SEC requested that Blackstone update their disclosures that stated the SEC may declare Bitcoin a security. Well, that's not good news for us because it means a significant drawdown. I mean, we could lose 50% or we could lose more. So, of course, you want to keep that in mind. My thinking is we don't get in trouble until Bitcoin gets over 100,000 because at about 150,000 is, I think, where Bitcoin becomes big enough where it becomes a problem for the SEC or it becomes a problem for the Fed because it now is acquiring such a large chunk of dollars in the global markets that they have to pay attention to it. So I don't think there, like I mentioned in a prior video, I don't think there is support and counter-risk to ban it. Kurt doesn't think they'll ban it at all, but I do think there is some risk of a quasi-ban where they declare Bitcoin a security and temporarily we get a decent drawdown off of that. And then we should find a floor there again, and then we rebuild with some kind of legislative measures to the upside, unless their intent is to push it all under the SEC to begin with. Hopefully, some type of bills come out of Congress that give us the better side. But maybe make it a constitutional right to own Bitcoin, where they declare it an asset within that law, would be great. That would overcome this problem. Or another bill that does the same thing, declares Bitcoin as an asset, and then it supersedes the SEC's labeling of Bitcoin as a security. But wanted to share that with you again, just because I want to make sure we're clear on the risk here with everyone that's out there, because we have some fantastic upside right ahead of us in crypto. But at the same time, we also have a higher degree of risk. And I want to make sure we're driving that home with everybody. So make sure your position size is equal to your risk model, whatever that might be, whether you're doing a position size of 3% of your account, 5%, et cetera, based on how you are managing your risk management. So hopefully that was helpful, folks. Great trading until next time. And please like and share the video. Of course, so everybody knows that you and obviously make any comments, any improvements, anything that I'm doing wrong. Obviously I'm doing this, so I want to get better at what I'm doing. So I would hopefully get a few of you to engage me so we can get better at this. Great trading until next time.